Hey everyone, welcome to Stories on Sunset, my weekly Sunday night show. And what I'm doing with Stories on Sunset is pretty much raising funds for all the venues that I got to go visit during my stay in Los Angeles from 2009 to 2013 as a concert journalist. So at this time during the COVID-19 and quarantine, a lot of their stuff, a lot of their staff are laid off and aren't able to work. So hopefully in the description box below the YouTube video are their GoFundMe's and their websites and where to donate and all that stuff. And my guest tonight is Dean from Dead End Amelia.
Hello.
And welcome. And
Thank you.
His information is scrolling on the bottom from his social networking sites and his where you can donate to him for his music career. So I'm raising funds for the musicians and the venues and the small businesses that I love. So
Thank you,
everyone,
sir.
welcome Dean. You're welcome.
Thank
Dean.
you, sir.
Anytime.
Good to see you, Sareth.
Great to see you too, bud.
We've been wanting to do something like this for a while.
Oh yeah, it's been a long time coming, and I'm glad it's finally happening. So.
Me too. Me too.
Yeah, man.
Where do the comments come in? Are we like is that coming through like the YouTube thing, or is it coming through this StreamYard thing?
Yep, on like the side of the YouTube video. So
Gotcha.
you might want to open another window, and then you can keep track of their comments too and answer them.
Awesome.
And, yeah.
Awesome.
Cool. So Dean, we first met each other in Los Angeles in Studio City at one of my day jobs because I had like 4 gigs out there when I was living out there because LA is expensive for a single person with no roommates.
It is.
Yeah, you gotta hustle.
It is.
But
That's right.
I at one of my gigs, I was hooking you up with the phone, and
Yeah, the first time we met was the new iPhone 4 came out. You were working at the AT&T store in Studio City, California.
Yep, my numbers were so bad that they bounced me around, and I'm like, Sherman Oaks is next for you, and North Hollywood is next for you, but the cool thing about those gigs were that I got to meet musicians. You know, like Lisa Loeb would come in. Hi, Jessica. She says hi to everyone.
I do see that. I do see the chat. I'm in the middle of this, but I want to say a quick hello to some of these people.
Yeah,
we've got Boob Man here. This is Todd. So there's people here from the gaming world, the gaming part of my life, and we have Jessica Muse, who I'll be talking about later. She's an okay singer. She's all right.
Awesome.
And Jessica Muse, hello Optimus Prime. Fuck me. Jessica Muse. This is not your war, but I'm afraid soon. Pee-pee. Penis. Hello, Ronald and everyone else. So Nicholas Haas of Nicholas Haas fame. Fucking great musician, that guy. Yeah, so Sareth, we met at the AT&T store. And yeah, you were working in a prime location. I have to say, I mean, if anyone in the chat remembers when the iPhone 4 came out, 2009, 10 or so, and I was there with my family, my wife at the time, and like our kids, and the iPhone lines are already fucked up. I mean, just getting an iPhone, period. I'm old enough to where I've been getting them since day one. I remember getting the first iPhone from the Grove in LA. Like that line was fucked. Anyway, point being is that you being my guy, like running into you, like made it like we ran into a nerd. We talked about Clive Barker. We talked about horror shit, and we talked about all kinds of cool. I mean, you made my purchasing experience pleasant. Thank you.
We have such sights to show you. But
and
man,
we became close friends in the process, which I'm happy about.
Yeah, man, it was great. I was like, trying to talk with all these famous musicians like yourself, and like I remember like Raphael Sadiq was there one time, and
oh my god, yeah,
Jill Scott, yeah. I helped her out. It was nuts, but I had a fun time in LA. But during that time, you told me that you were a musician, and you go, hey, I have a show coming up at the Viper Room, I believe. Go to that, and I think that was the first time I saw you perform.
Oh wow! Live. Yeah, Dead End Amelia did have a show coming up at the Viper Room. That's right, we did. Yeah.
And at the time I was a concert journalist, I'm like, I got to cover some shows. And I was like at the Sunset Strip all the time.
Right. I'm just answering something to the chat. I'm multitasking. Go ahead, Sareth. They're asking when whiskey is.
Awesome.
Cheers.
And I got to meet some really cool fans that was like, Chrissy and Desiree, and got to meet the opening bands and the bands on the bill with you, and like Super Black Market and stuff like that. And that story's coming up.
Great band, man. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I covered all the big shows, but I love working all the little shows, like, and meeting all the locals, like, Warner Drive and the Chimps and stuff like that. And
the Chimps, dude. Yeah, I've been friends with that drummer for a long time, Sean.
Cappy, yeah.
Yeah,
he does all kinds of cool video work. So,
yeah, he's a talented guy. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. I always ran into like him and you guys at NAMM and stuff, and whenever I went, and I was
we did run into each other at NAMM. Shit.
Yeah. That was pretty wild.
I fucking hate NAMM. But anyway.
Really?
Yeah, it's just crazy. It's like it's nice to run into friends you meet in the road, like going on tour, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like everyone's immune systems are depleted, and it's like January, and people from Europe and Asia are bringing all the illness in, and you're like, it's like you're like a fly to the fucking light. You get sick every time you go. Jessica knows too. She just said too many people. It's too many people.
Absolutely. I always get sick whenever I come back home from NAMM. But the cool thing I got from NAMM is this Vic Firth lanyard. Not that they're sponsoring this or anything, but I wear it to this day, and it's like 10 years old. But I'm not even a drummer, but I'll still wear this Vic Firth lanyard that I got for free. Why not?
Yeah. And she said, and the war, I think she meant to say wall of sound, but war of sound works too. And she's not wrong. I mean, it's like, you're going in with all these major retailers, and it could be like a microphone company or she's got a shitload of Taylor guitars. And it's like, imagine going and playing this beautiful, like $5,000, like Dave Matthews signature acoustic in the middle of this cacophony, and how are you ever going to really understand there's a reason why it's a trade only event. I mean, you know what I mean? But like, anyway, you look at it that way, you can enjoy NAMM. But anyway, yeah.
Absolutely. Go have some shenanigans is what they call it, and meet famous musicians. Like I saw Mike Shinoda there, and like Kerry King and
Kerry King's always around. He's happy to meet people. My favorite thing is and I think Jess might appreciate this, every single corner that you walk by. I mean, when you turn, like any exhibit hall that you're in, with the exception of the first floor exhibit halls, it's like there's like every fucking corner, there's like a fucking guy with like beer and scotch. So you're constantly in a place of you're like slightly you enjoy it more if you just keep turning the corner and buying a drink.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Oh man, but you come like we'll return to the Sunset Strip in a little bit, but let's talk about your background. Like you come from a family of classical musicians. And,
that's right.
And all these instruments that you play, like dive into all those instruments.
Well, I mean, I started off. I'm still a classical pianist. That to be fair, that's my first instrument. It was probably the basis for my love, really. But yeah, I play guitar, bass, drums. I love playing drums. One of my favorite things to play. I do a fair bit of pretty deep electronic programming, a lot of keyboards. I love to. I have a weird talent of if someone points at the instrument, I'm probably gonna like get it to a higher than intermediate level pretty fast. So I use that talent for my clientele and what I'm doing there. Yeah.
Awesome. And you're a electronic composer and a songwriter and producer.
Right.
And man, what made you work behind the scenes too?
What you're asking, like what like left me like to where I wanted to be behind the curtain, so to speak.
Yep. Like the Wizard of Oz.
I was going to say that, thanks, Jess. I did my eyes really quickly, really fast. I wish I did makeup as good as that girl. I think like her goddess profile helps. She could fuck up her makeup and be good. Sorry. I love that woman. No, in the late 90s, my brother Dustin, who is one of the greatest fucking rock stars in my life, My brother Dustin is like my biggest, one of my biggest guitar heroes. And, he put me in a rock band with him. He had already been doing really well in the local scene in Houston, Texas, where I'm from. And, he put me, he had a lot of eyes on him in the industry already. He had built up a lot of a following beyond the region and stuff. And he started a new band with me. He forced me to play guitar. He taught me Heart Shaped Box by Nirvana, the first song I ever learned on the electric. And, it catapulted from there. And long story short, we started a band. It saw a lot of success. And it just got to a place where I realized at some point, man, I've like accrued a lot of knowledge that goes beyond me pursuing being a featured guitar player or a guitar player in a band. There's nothing wrong with that. It just, I knew that there was a bigger purpose for me. Just working with musicians throughout my life, and the chat's getting funny. Yeah. And basically long story short, it's just one of those things where I realized just by working with friends and everything on behind the scenes, I oddly became good at audio, composition and arrangement, kind of realizing that I'm sensitive to people's visions of like what they want. These people that, generally speaking, most artists that are, full of dreams and they're talented and they have a lot of stuff that they're doing, they don't, especially back then, it's like they don't, not even now, they don't have all the wherewithal to understand how to even make a demo themselves at home. And even if they do, it doesn't sound that good. And I realized I can do that pretty quickly and, and very thoroughly for them. And I knew what my purpose was supposed to be. Don't get me wrong. Today I tour, I get hired, I play, I'm a performer. I still have my band and all that. That came way later. I realized that I belonged, like in a control room. I belonged in a pre-production room. I belonged in songwriting suites. And it was just very obvious. And to this day, I still stand by my decision. I could have gone and like sold millions of records with my brother, but it was the right thing to do, I think.
Absolutely. And you're also an artist branding specialist. What got you into that? And what do you do as an artist branding specialist? Well,
yeah, I don't run my own firm or anything, but I work with a lot of people that do in terms of digital branding agencies and just sort of different that do different firms and elements of artist development. And so I work closely with them. So if I get a new artist, that needs a sort of brand or brand direction, that'll usually happen concurrent in the midst of my production. I'll put people together, or I'll kind of help that, through and, whatever it might be. So that's basically it. It's just kind of working with people that are second or third degree partners to me and making sure that they're involved in the process of taking a new artist from what I do for them forward into branding them and the whole, the PR and the campaigning and all that stuff.
It's pretty rad, dude.
Thanks.
You're welcome. And so now you're based out of Los Angeles.
Yes.
Gosh, I miss that city. I'll be back in Santa Monica in September, by the way, performing stand-up. So
good. You are fucking hilarious, dude.
Thanks, man.
You guys got to follow this guy's channel, by the way, Sareth Ney, or youtube.com/Sareth, SARETH_Ney, NEY. This guy is fucking hilarious. And he's somehow always hanging out with the Wu-Tang Clan. I don't get that part, but it's the best. Go ahead, Sareth.
Pretty wild stuff, dude.
Yeah.
I can't believe it either. But yeah, thanks. And I'll subscribe back to your channels too. Everyone that subscribes back to mine. So
absolutely. Yep. Hello, Jessica Adam. Hello, Princess. Sorry.
No worries. And so, let's see here. You develop and you produce indie and major artists in private studios around the city, and
right.
And it's all out there. Is all about networking. Like, what was like your first experience like doing all that stuff?
I want to be a little bit careful. I think the official thing I can say is that the first gig I ever had was with a new metal band from the late 90s, early 2000s. Wasn't the proudest thing in my career, so I'm not going to plug that. Fuck you guys. You ever see this shit? But I like some of the people on the team. No, but anyway, I went over there. I moved to Brentwood, which is, right next to Santa Monica, You know, I lived in a small apartment that was, I mean, like a walk away from the Santa Monica Pier, you know, and I kind of moved on a whim. I just said to by that point I had already been flown out like once or twice for work in the music industry as a kid, like early 20s, late teens. You know, as I said, my brother and I doing what we were doing, like we back in the day when this used to happen, we got discovered and then we got flown out, you know, to do these like record label showcases for A&R people. You know, so I had my way around and I had known a lot of people. And so I said to myself, I'm going to move out there and see if it's worth, if you know, the city is so competitive. And I'm just like this little fat Asian kid that is a gamer and shit. And am I going to be worth anything? Like, is anyone going to pay attention? And, you know, am I useful really to the city at all? You know, and there was a woman called Anzu Lawson, who was my first client ever. Before social media and all this, we had this thing in LA called Music Connection. And it was a website, and that she posted that she wanted someone to like, and you know, be a recording engineer and to mix like one, you know, like an EP or something. That was my first client, and I ended up getting paid more than $1,000, which was a really big deal for me at 22, because being out on my own. And I said, she liked it. Maybe I can just keep going, and I've stayed ever since. You know, but I'm sorry. Your question was about the competitive, how like the survival in the city, or what was it? I'm sorry.
Like what your first start was, and that's what you pretty much answered. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it was. And from there, I just kept seeing if there was more of her that wanted me to stick around. You know, and I did, and here we are. Fucking God, how many years? 2002. Jeez, like
dang, 18 years.
18 years later. You know, and I haven't stopped, you know, and I'm making records now for people that are here that still are, but were heroes of mine when I was a kid. I'm producing albums for now and stuff like that. So,
yeah, man, and I relate to you so much, being the you know, young Asian kid out in Los Angeles and like trying to find our way. But I'm glad
you're funnier and more charismatic than I am, dude. Like you're more magnetic. I'm a dickhead. You know.
I can't help it. It just happens, I guess. Yeah. All these like rock stars and horror writers just get attracted to this magnet of mine, I guess. Oh man.
Yes, Jessica Brentwood, where OJ may or may not have done something, and where who lives there? Fucking Arnold Schwarzenegger has a house there. Brentwood. Yes, ma'am. Oh, she looked it up. She looked it up, dude. Anyway, go ahead.
My first city in California was Palmdale, with like Afro Man.
Palmcaster.
Yeah, Palmcaster.
Yeah.
And then I moved into like Sherman Oaks, and which is like pretty dope. And I'm glad I moved to the Valley. You know, that was good.
Out of curiosity, when you came over one time to my house in Studio City, and we made, what did we make? We made these cool burgers that were from where you're from in Pueblo, Colorado. They were like these. What are they called? Sloppers.
Yeah.
That's what they were. A fucking, what was the green? You made like a green paste or like a green sort of salsa or something that just like fucking the burgers were drowning in and shit.
Yeah, it's green chili, but there was
green chili.
Pueblo green chili out there, so we use Anaheim green chili, and like we threw in tomatoes, and like for Krista we accidentally put pork in there, so we should have had like a vegetarian option for her. Right.
Yeah, Krista doesn't do the pork thing.
Nope. And I just said, you know what, you guys just keep the slow cooker. I don't really need it.
And to this day, by the way, he did leave me his crock pot, and I still use it. I still own it to this day. Thank you, Sarath.
You're welcome.
From that day, this was so many fucking years ago, 2010 or something, 10 years ago or more.
And I'm glad it still works. It's pretty wild.
Yeah, I still use it, man. I make pulled pork in it and shit. Nothing Krista would eat, but yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm always at the restaurants and like the Rainbow and and Crave Cafe. Those are my favorite
Crave.
spots.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Did you live in Sherman Oaks when you came over to that one time to make those burgers? Did you live like near me at that time, like up just right north of me?
Yeah, I lived between on Burbank between Coldwater and Woodman.
Okay, yeah, you were nearby. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, good place, man. It's really quiet. I miss that place. It was only $9.95 for a whole month rent. So 1 bedroom, 1 bath. I miss those days.
Well, that shit's different now in Sherman Oaks.
Really? How
the
expensive
rent
is
is
it?
the rent is way different now in Sherman Oaks.
Is it in the thousands?
These fucking guys. Sorry, I'm with you. No, it's what's more than that. The room you had, if it was $995, no, not yeah, $995. Back then, I mean, that's like a $1,400 room at least now.
Holy moly!
At least now, yeah. Cheers.
Cheers to everyone that's watching. You can be Optimus, and I'll be Bumblebee Tuna.
Okay, Bumblebee Tuna.
Yeah.
What else is left in the interview, Sam?
So the cool thing about you is like I love is that you span multiple genres, and you just like don't discriminate.
I love it all. I love it all, man.
Too. Yeah. Like what made you like not pigeonhole yourself into a specific genre?
What made me not pigeonhole myself? I wouldn't say I went into the effort of not pigeonholing myself because I think it's fair to say I don't think it's a pigeonhole. Like there's people that make like for instance, I mean, I know for a fact Nicholas Haas, who's in the chat right now, would agree to this. There is a gentleman called Nolly Getgood, who is a sort of tertiary band member of this cool progressive modern metal band called Periphery. He's an awesome producer. You know Periphery. And so Nolly played bass with them. He plays guitar and some of this stuff. He still produces their stuff. He's not in the band anymore. But like he is a specialist at hyper modern, really clean, hard hitting metal. That's his thing. He's good at that. And he's probably good at a lot of things, but I'm just saying that like in his case, that guy is meant for that. Now I wouldn't call it a pigeonhole, but yeah, man, honestly, I grew up, the house that I grew up in, there was two things going on. There were my brothers who are 7 and 11 years older than me. And then my mom and dad and my mom, and we had, this fucking vinyl player in the living room. And my mom and dad, it'd be like when they took control of their living room, when I was like a little kid, like it would be like Engelbert Humperdinck, it would be fucking Frank Sinatra, all the crooners, whole Rat Pack, Barbra Streisand, Bette Midler. I mean, I was surrounded by this great, my mom is this awesome singer. And, Patsy Cline, I mean, all that would be playing and I wouldn't know any difference. It's just me growing up in this house where it's just banging through this great system. And then, they'd go off to work or they'd get busy and my brothers would take over, and all of a sudden I'm getting inundated with Rush, the Police, their girlfriends would come over or something and Madonna, would come on and Van Halen, all this shit. And I didn't really discriminate between them. I just like as a kid, I knew, I knew the merit of each thing and why each one of those things gave me all the feels, like I would become as commensurately excited about, Barbra Streisand singing as I would hearing Panama, and I think that affected me over time. So as I started to get hired to make records and write songs and play on people's records, I discovered my own versatility through these people who would say, oh my God, you can, you love all these things. You're good at all these different things. I wouldn't say I was like good at all of them. It got baked into me, so just to get geeky for a moment, like as an audio engineer, like it's just as important to me to use the proper, $35,000 microphone in front of a crooner as it is to use the cheapest fucking like Radio Shack microphone in front of a hardcore singer. Like those things are commensurate value to me. And they both communicate something for that genre, So so that I didn't pigeonhole, it's just that I'm in love with so much. I don't make enough records. Like I want to make like 13 records of all the genres, maybe not Zydeco. I love listening to Zydeco, but maybe not Zydeco, but I'd love to do like 10 record per genre that I love like every year. I'm passionate about it. I think that's what it is. Growing up with that stuff.
Man, I love how you and I are a lot alike in that field, and that's why I don't discriminate when I cover concerts. And speaking of Periphery, like I remember seeing them at the House of Blues on Sunset Strip when I was around. during the Summer Slaughter tour, and man, it was Cannibal Corpse and everything. So she's going on my
fuck yeah, dude.
And you wouldn't expect me to be there, like all Wu-Tanged out and at a Summer Slaughter tour.
No, I would expect you there, but it would be funny to see like fucking what's your alter ego?
Wu Manchu, like Fu
Wu Manchu. Look at this fucking guy. I'm sorry, everyone. Look at this fucking guy with his cap. Oh man, I should have asked you to wear, but then you would have had to be Wu Manchu interviewing me if you were wearing the getup.
Oh right? Yeah, the mask, the cape, the whole.
He's got a thing where he's a fucking like superhero for Wu-Tang, and it's hilarious. But yeah, I mean, I think that'd be great to see. It'd be great to see that guy at a fucking Cannibal Corpse show for sure.
I actually dressed up as Wu Manchu to go hang out with Misfits and Danzig and Sam Hain.
Fuck.
One year backstage with Jason Voorhees from the remake. And I got to see Lamb of God in my Wu-Tang outfit too, like cape and everything on Halloween night at the Palladium. That was pretty rad too.
By the way, Jessica Muse is asking, didn't they close the House of Blues? They did. Terrible. Yeah. What I mean, of all the iconic things we had left that were going away. I mean, did you ever go to the Knitting Factory when we had it in Hollywood?
I didn't go. I wish I did.
Oh man. That was one of my favorite places to fucking play. Was at the fucking Knitting Factory. They had 3 rooms, the alternate lounge, which was like a 75-person capacity. They had the front bar and then the main stage. Fuck. Anyway, we lost that. They still have it in Brooklyn, or New York. That's where it originates from. And what else did we've lost a lot down there, but the House of Blues going down was iconic, man. That was big. That sucked.
When the Key Club went down, I was sad. I saw Method Man then and got to hang out with him. That was just one of my favorite memories.
That's awesome. You've hung out with a lot of the fucking rap greats, dude.
Thank you, dude. Man, and you can see Wu Manchu do stand up on my YouTube channel too. So that's
you guys have to watch that. You guys have to watch that. Jessica says she saw Steel Panther, which is a show I wish I saw. Have you seen Steel Panther yet?
I haven't, but they were at Welcome to Rockville, but I actually missed them. But I could have caught them so many times at the House of Blues, but I never got the chance to do it because I was like, I was so busy. 4 jobs in 3 years, just back to back to back.
Jessica, maybe we'll end up at a Steel Panther show together. Make some bad decisions. Let's do that. I want to see that show.
That'll work. They look like an 80s, glam band, I think, if I can remember right.
Yeah. They run that all the way. Yeah, they commit to that.
And they them and Metalachi are all like in the same boat. It seems like,
Yeah, right.
Oh man, those guys are some cool cats too. Let's see here.
They do rock, Jess.
Absolutely. And your upcoming projects are with Candlebox and Jessica. She's watching. Thank you for watching, Jessica. And Dave from the UK.
We
go in and dive deep into those.
Okay, so you cut out for a minute. You mentioned Candlebox. I think you mentioned Jessica Muse is with us now.
Yep, and Dave. So the UK.
I'm working on a lot of records. I'm working on a lot of records now. I just got done producing the up and coming Candlebox album. That is a band that shaped me through my fucking childhood. Still rocking. And the singer, Kevin Martin, he wanted to do a record that was like balls to the wall, like put the band in there live and like capture it. Like it was the first time Candlebox had ever done that, instead of like doing the glossy sort of like, take your time, multi-track, overthink things. It was just go in, fucking light the fuse and fucking don't run. It was like one of those things. And that record was fun for that reason. When that record comes out, that'll be fun to listen to. That's in the mix stage now. And two artists that I think are worth mentioning now, that I'm going to be making products with, Jess Muse, who's in the chat right now. She, people will remember her first sort of entry to fame, so to speak. I think it was season 13 Idol. She was a top 4 don't really understand why she didn't win it. But basically she went off and did her own career after that, made a record, and it's at the end of a cycle now, a campaign cycle now. And, she and I have been friends for a long time. And the first thing that we did recently, which is to be released, I can't fucking wait for this one, is, I don't want to talk too much about it, but we did a track, that is heavily related to The Witcher, the game, and namely really the Netflix show. I'm laughing because I wish I could flash her a Henry Cavill GIF right now, because she is in love with him, unhealthily. And no, so we did a really epic version of the song "Toss a Coin to Your Witcher." Have you heard it?
Not yet, but I gotta check it out after the interview.
Yeah, for sure. And it like a bard in the show. Sorry, I'm snorting in this mic. Henry Cavill is my baby. Yeah, so there's a bard in one of the scenes. I don't watch the show. Not that I don't like it. I just don't have time to watch any TV. But where this bard sings this song, it became this viral thing. A bunch of people. Matt Heafy of Trivium did a cover. Who else? If anyone remembers anyone else that did an epic cover of Toss a Coin, can you throw it in the chat, please? I want to live inside of him. God damn it. I want to live inside of him. That's out on the internet forever.
It's kind of like Midsummer with the bear, And...
Fucking shit, man. That's fucking great. But I was going to say that, so we did it. She and I did a really awesome, epic version. I made it extremely orchestral, very epic, very big. She is an incredibly naturally talented power vocalist, and it worked really well with this like 50-piece orchestra that I made. And I think it's the most epic version of the tune that's going to ever exist. I'll be finishing that up soon. I have to mix it. She's been getting on my ass about that. Sorry, Jess, I'm getting there. Lockdown hasn't been friendly on the schedule with things. But we're releasing that, and I'm also doing a single with her soon, and we're talking about doing an EP or a record. She's ready to release some new stuff. She's about to molt an old shell and become something really. It's going to be a beautiful butterfly when that comes out. And the other artist that you mentioned was Dave Giles. Dave Giles is an artist out of London. He has a really, how do I explain this? I would say that he has like a very rock Americana vibe, like with roots in like the Tom Petty thing, Ryan Adams, Jason Isbell, like that kind of feel, and he loves country, loves rock, very Americana, and he's from the UK, so he's a good friend of mine. He and I have a whiskey. He and our friend Nick have a whiskey podcast I want to bring up later. But we were doing that on YouTube for a long time as videos. It's a podcast now. But the point being is, we knew each other doing that. I have this character called the Whiskey God, and he's the one that reviews. Like in the middle of the shows, he reviews. He's a faceless entity that reviews the whiskeys. I know that people in this chat are going to love this. I have to do this for them. Tasting notes. So what the fuck was that? So it's like a hot rod behind me. Tasting notes. Knob Creek. Anyway, that's the Whiskey God. And so Dave and I knew each other doing that for ages. And I had produced records for our friend Nick, who's in the who's the main host with him in the podcast. And he called me. He was like, dude, I've always wanted to do an album, in Nashville. Because Nashville has a lore and a mythology to us as Americans, like it's a beautiful place. So, a lot of good things from the South come from there, country music, Americana and all that. But, to people over there across the pond, it's like the mythology is heavy, and it's a big deal that someone like him comes over to do that. So he calls me up, we're already friends. It was an easy conversation, and we decided, we're going to do a record. And I brought in a lot of my friends that are, well-to-do session musicians. Adam Curry, from the bass player of Candlebox, Kevin Holland, one of the, if not the greatest session guitar player in Los Angeles and wherever you call him, you know, and a really good friend of mine from Bangalore, India, called Jared Sandy, came in and played the drums. And I put this team together, and we went to this beautiful studio called Welcome to 1979. We did the whole record live to 2-inch tape, did it completely natural. Excuse me. The whiskey is coming back up. Shouldn't have eaten McDonald's before I had that. And I just said that in front of a fitness fucking guru here. Jessica Muse is going to call me later. Why did you eat McDonald's? That's bad for you. That's how she talks. Oh, she's going to kill me. And sorry, Alabama. I can't talk like her. But I was going to say that, yeah, so Dave, that record did really well. We ended up touring it in the UK. I brought everyone over. Brought Dave Cruzen from Pearl Jam to play drums on that tour.
Wow.
To launch that album late 2018. And did really well. Our next record, we want to do what we're aiming for is we want to do a double album at Abbey Road for Dave Giles. That's what we're looking at next. That's what we're looking at next. And sorry, I'm with you. Just the chat's kicking my ass. And yeah, we're gonna do that in Abbey Road next. And yeah, that's the big ones there. Those are the artists I really wanted to mention because these guys are working really hard. I think they're working harder than a lot of artists I've seen, especially through the lockdown. You know, another artist I'm doing a record for right now, I think, you know, deserves a mention is a gentleman called Zach Freitas from Northern California, from Monterey. Has a really cool indie Americana vibe, very shoegaze, pop Americana rock thing. Zach Freitas from Monterey. You know, I imagine Elliott Smith if Elliott Smith had Nirvana as a band.
That's pretty rad.
Think about that. Like, how sick is that? Like, if it was Elliott Smith writing instead, but it was Chris Novoselic and Dave Grohl. That's Zach Freitas. Great record. Great record. Met him playing a video game. I was playing Overwatch, and I met him on a lobby, and then I got hired doing a record for that guy. It's a real true story. Yeah.
Pretty wicked.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I remember covering Pearl Jam in Jacksonville, and they had no opening act, no direct support. It was just them. And
yeah.
Before I went into the photo pit, I bought me a Pearl Jam shirt, and Eddie Vedder was in the front, and he gives me this cool nod. I'm like, yeah, that's rad.
That's sick. Yeah, he's a nice man.
I love my job sometimes.
Dude, you see a lot of cooler shit than I do, man. I want to go be a fucking, like, you know how like Sonic the Hedgehog has like tails and knuckles and shit? Like, yep. Can I be that to Wu Man or whatever, the Wu Manchu? Like, could you make me a character like to where I could be the bigger than you but still submissive to you fucking sidekick of Wu Manchu? Can we turn that on you for a minute, Wu Manchu? What would your sidekick be if you could make me a sidekick and I could fucking have that life with you as you're on your coattails? What would you turn me into? Could you come up with a character for that?
I'd probably go with Killer Bee Man. You know,
Killer Bee Man.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Take on those,
I would love to have a stinger. Go ahead.
Kill those murder hornets and stuff.
Yeah. The praying mantises kill the murder hornets just fine, man. I don't know why people are tripping balls.
Rad, you know, picking their brains and stuff like zombies.
That's what I want. Can I be Mantis? Mantis man?
Sure.
Okay.
You can pray all the time. Man, like during my LA during all my
I can pray all the time.
Yeah. And wish people well, but like I was hoping, like, because I would always get like a +1 when I lived in LA, but I had no one to take with me, and I'm like, crap, dude, like all these legendary shows, and I had a +1 and no one.
I'll make it public right now. If you ever do go back out as Wu Manchu, and we do get to do a sidekick, I will hire like a proper cosplay like specialist, and I will fucking put a stinger like on the other end of a butt plug directly into my butt and be B-Man, Killer B-Man. Can I say that live? It's too late.
It's too late. Yeah. Yep.
Are we friends? Are we all still friends?
We're all still friends. Man. The cool thing about like my Wu-Tang pants were like, I would walk into like the Viper room and stuff, and they'd be like, man, you don't have a show to cover because you don't have a camera on you, but just like Joe Holiday that would work the door at the time. He goes, house guest, and like I would just go in for free. It was just so gnarly. Man, his band Lady Sinatra rocked, so it was pretty rad.
If we ever do one of these again, you have to interview me as Wu Manchu, man. Like the full character. If that's okay.
I could totally do that.
I should have requested that, like this go, but I'm glad that people are getting to know who you are. But yeah.
Yeah. He'd made 2 superhero films, so check those out on my website if you want. I'll put them on YouTube.
Hold on, slow down, Turbo. Wu Manchu has films?
Yeah. 2 short films. One in LA on my 30th birthday. It was pretty rad. I dressed up as Wu Manchu and made like a parade with all my friends on Hollywood Boulevard with the rest of the superheroes.
Holy fucking shit.
And I dressed up as Wu Manchu to the Man with the Iron Fist midnight premiere. And like the whole place just went nuts, dude. It was so awesome.
Can you do a screen share of a Wu Manchu picture? Can we show them?
Wu Manchu appears on the logo on my YouTube. So that's
okay, fine. They can look it up.
Yeah,
look it up.
The cape and the beanie and everything, and the boots
and the mask, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it was, Clive Barker's nephew. He was married at the time. She made the cartoon there for me. So as my birthday present. So that was pretty cool.
So cool, man.
So yeah, you'll see like Clive's nephew filming me in the video and everything, and it's just
you keep mentioning Clive. I think some of these people. I know this is about me, but I love you, dude. You're one of my best friends. Can we talk about your thing with Clive?
Sure, if you want to.
No, like why do you keep bringing up Clive? Like make a blurb so people know what the thing with you and Clive. It's a very special part. You're my friend. I want people to know about that.
Okay, so like the reason why I moved out to Los Angeles was that I was Clive's summer intern from 2008 or 2009.
Yeah, Clive who? Like what's his claim to fame?
Clive Barker. He did like Hellraiser and Candyman and Nightbreed and the Midnight Meat Train and
fuck yeah.
And he was in like Motorhead's Hellraiser video. I directed it too, I think. So that was pretty rad.
Thanks. I wanted to make sure they knew.
Oh, cool. And then that's how I met you, Dean. And then I started working there, and I was his apprentice for like the next 3 years. And then and it was just the whole story's on my website, aqdpi.com. So and that's awesome. he turned me into a writer. And he said, experience every single genre of music, whether it's Periphery at the House of Blues or...
Dude, he loved you. You guys got so close. You got so close.
It was nuts. So close that he gave me a special thanks on his movie, Nightbreed, the director's cut. So, So you can check all that information out. Pretty nuts.
Definitely. Thanks. I wanted everyone to know. I wanted everyone to know that about you.
Oh, thanks, bud.
Of course, dude. Of course.
Yeah, you worked with Fifi Dobson in 11 Past 1 and let's see here, Family Force 5. So I didn't want to leave those cats out. So because we covered the rest of the artists that you worked with.
Yeah, those are easy. I mean, the Fifi Dobson album. The Fifi Dobson story is interesting. If anyone remembers who she is, do you remember? You know who Fifi Dobson is? Mm-hmm. Like pop artist from Toronto, Canada.
Yep, like early 2000s or like late 2000s, something like that.
Yeah, but her biggest claim to fame, so far, well, up to when I worked on a record for her. She released an album, and it just so, in my opinion, as far as I can see, and this is the unfortunate politics of things in the industry, in my opinion, is, she launches as a half black girl doing the pop rock thing at the same exact time that another girl from Canada launches Complicated, which is Avril. So it was a lot easier to sell Avril over her, and so she goes through this big, creative crisis and stuff. And all of a sudden, she resurfaces, late 2000s. I get pinged to work on an album produced by Dave Litchin's friend of mine in the industry as well, great songwriter. And we did the Fifi Dobson album at my house in Studio City, the one when we made the sloppers, the burgers. And it relaunched her into the public eye. 11 Past One's another Canadian artist. I remember doing a record for them around the same time. 2010 or 9 or 10. And I did that album. They toured it, and then they fucking got signed to Warner and got really big and fucking, they became like teenage heartthrobs. And now the singer is off, Daniel Richter. He's a solo artist now called Valdii, Valdii, and he's off doing that. So yeah, it tends to be, if I've done something for the budding artist, it tends to do something cool for them. And the Family Force 5 thing that you have listed there is, this is actually really kind of cute. I love Family Force 5. I went on tour with them on Warped Tour, I think 1 or 2 times. And, we got hooked up and worked on a track together man, does anyone remember, God, Target sold like the cutest, like plush, like animals during Halloween for like a couple of years. I think it was the like 2010s, early 2010s. They were called Skell Animals. You remember those?
It's been a long time.
They were like these black plushies in the shape of like a bat or a spider or a bear or whatever. And they were black and they were cute. And like they're all black, but like they had the skeletons of those creatures, but like cute and smiley. And it was Family Force 5, the singer, Solomon, his stage name, sorry, shouldn't have said his real name. Sorry, Soul Glow Activator of Family Force 5 came to my house. Dave Litchin's there. And we did a track particularly for Target, for the Skell Animals. And it was the craziest thing because no matter what city I was in during Halloween, in the United States, I don't know other countries, I would go into a Target and our song, or their song that we did, would be playing over the Skell Animals thing. So that's the work I did there with them. But yeah.
Sweet. Yeah, Mr. Boomman DD has some cool stuff to say, and Nicholas too. You guys rock.
I know these guys maybe don't realize it, but I mean, I think you want to open it up to a sort of interactive Q&A soon, right?
Yep.
And unfortunately, Jessica is lurking, but that's okay. Maybe we'll get her back.
Yep. Hopefully we'll.
Go ahead.
Indeed. Yeah. But yeah, we just covered your music career, so it brings us back to LA. And I remember seeing you all at the Troubadour. And what was that place that was like on Santa Monica, and you had to go to the back?
It wasn't. It was near San. It was actually the front of the building. I think you're talking about Amplify.
Yeah, that's the one.
And it was really cool because the storefront of it was actually on Melrose.
Melrose, that's right.
And you have to go to the back alley through a small green door to enter this place. That was, dude. I've played a fucking 100 places in LA, and that's like top 3.
Dang, I remember being your merch man that night too. So. And that's like one of the cool things about our journey is like I got to be your merch man and your roadie, and like,
dude, I love that, man. I know it's stuff that we do for each other, man. And so Amplify, I don't even know if it's still active, but it was owned by then 19-year-old, a friend of mine. She's called Kodo Wade. And she's a kid that owned it. And Dead and Amelia, my band, is like that night that you went was the first time Amplify had ever been sold out.
Wow.
Was our like album release. And I hope that place is still open. I
remember that burger joint that was in the front too. I think there was a burger joint.
There's a burger place nearby. I'm sure you're going to get to this at some point, but like Krista and I are getting back to the Den and Amelia brand. We want to start playing again.
Man, I met some really cool people like Los and Craig and Will and Krista and yourself and
Craig Guidry. You met Craig Guidry, right? Yeah. And funny enough, so again, Jessica Muse in the chat. Who I'm going to be working with. She, likely the next stuff I do for her, whether it's the singles or, EP or album, whatever we do, Craig Guidry is going to be playing on that for sure. I decided on that, so you met some good people that are very much still in my life. We work together still, we still, Yeah, we still work on records. We still work in production.
I can't forget about Diego. He's a cool cat. And because like I remember covering Deftones at the Hollywood Palladium on my 100th concert article, my 1 year anniversary, sold out just like Amplify. And man, like Scars on Broadway was like one of the opening bands.
Scars on Broadway, Darren Malakian's band, right?
Yep. From, like, System of a Down, I believe.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was
Darren from System of a Down started that band, and they had some cool material. But yeah.
Yep.
So you mentioned Diego?
Yep. I remember he used to work at Capitol, I think. Now he does his own thing.
Doesn't need to anymore. I mean, so yeah, I met Diego. Yeah, I mean, when he was like 16, he came up in the industry with me, learned a lot, went on his own, became an engineer at Capitol Records. Now he's independent. He's doing well. He has a fucking badass new band. You know, he's doing good.
That's pretty awesome.
He's doing good. I'm very happy for him. This is everything that he's wanted. You know, to get that knowledge and be creative on his own. He's a special place in my heart, that kid.
Absolutely. Same here. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I remember seeing him in the front row, and like he just like he's so cheesy. I was in the photo pit. I was like, man, so cool. I got to see Diego in the front. It's pretty rad.
Well, I don't know if you remember this, but he ended up playing with us.
Yeah, I remember. That's how we met.
Yeah, he ended up being Dead and Amelia's bass player.
Yep.
Yeah.
Man, those were the times, and yeah, if it wasn't for you guys and like you and Krista did that arm thing when we were having sloppers. I can't remember that arm thing. It was like
arm thing.
Like you guys like put your arm in the air with one arm. It was like some I can't remember, but it was like it always sticks out of my mind.
Wait. No. Was it that thing where we'd go, what?
Yeah,
like,
that's the thing. Yeah, like it stuck out just now, and I'm like, what? This is nuts.
Oh fuck! I forgot. Okay, that's actually a funny story. It was the drummer of Killswitch Engage. He was at my house when I lived in Woodland Hills, and he was in Tom Gomes from Killswitch Engage, and he was in my house in Woodland Hills, and he was just sitting in on a session. A production session of some kind, and I said something lewd, as I do. I had to keep, my dry fucked up humor to keep the room kind of like going and asking questions. And basically, I just remember I said something fucked up, and he's sitting right behind me, and he has got a really dry personality as it is, and he just goes, what? He just said it like that, and I carried that with me, and then eventually it got to Krista. And then years later, and she and I just like whenever something would weird us out, we just go, what? And that's what you're referring to. That's the arm thing. Sorry, it's some really dumb shit. It's some really dumb shit I'm talking about. But yeah,
just old memories just randomly pop up, and man, like from my previous story, from like Stories on Sunset with Filch at the Roxy, I talked about meeting Jeff Friedel and from A Perfect Circle, and
yes.
At NAMM, and then you told me an interesting story about how you and Billy Howardell would go grocery shopping and being neighbors in Studio City.
Dude, yeah, Billy Howardell of A Perfect Circle, totally coincidental. I mean, my house in Studio City, like many times he and I would be getting gas at the same time because there's like a 76 gas station, petrol station right by the house, and we'd always see each other just sitting getting gas. And of course I know who he is more than he knows who I am, you know what I mean, especially at that point, and because that's like the height of what 13th Step or something when this was going on, that great APC record. And I remember it well. He's really bald, very tall, and very pasty, very white, beautiful man. It's a very beautiful man.
Yeah.
And he drove a silver Altima. I remember this very well. Yes, he drove a silver Altima. And many times we'd be in the same line at that Valley store where I would daily get my whiskey and stuff down the street, walk down the street to get the whiskey, or like breakfast items to cook for my kids and shit. And like Billy Howardell was always in the fucking line with me. So we'd always we'd take the moment to just geek out about something. And then, all right, neighbor, see ya. Yeah, that was crazy. It turned out he was my fucking neighbor in Studio City. Yeah, that's fucking cool.
That's wild. I remember meeting him backstage at the Gibson, and during my journalism days out there, and got to go backstage and meet Roxette and
Oh, the Gibson Amphitheater in this the Universal Studio City Walk.
Yeah.
Right.
Indeed. Yeah. And got to go and backstage with the Smashing Pumpkins too, but James Iha wasn't in the band, so I'm glad this is coming as a perfect circle. And with all this James Iha and Jeff Friedel and Billy Howardale talk, so it's pretty rad.
Yeah, that's cool.
And Mr. Booman says these stories are epic, so it's pretty awesome. Yeah.
Thanks, Todd. His name is Todd. Thank you, Todd.
Yeah, and talked about Craig too. So yeah, thanks, Todd. And yeah, it's we got like 5 minutes left, so feel free to shoot out some questions for us, and we'll answer them as best as we can. And
I'm sad that Jess is gone. I wanted to mess with her a little bit because she does that to me on stream. I'm her moderator on her gaming stream. So
dang, I haven't gamed in so long. Like my last game that I loved playing was Cubert, and so
it would be for you
forever ever.
That's funny,
man. But I played Mario Kart with my best friend every time I'd go back to Colorado for my festival and stuff. But man, I've been trying to get you guys out there to play it. So hopefully,
like I said, we're active again. Soon, Krista and I. So we'll be available likely to do that. It'll be fun to do it with a new band. Again, if anyone is like Sareth said, if anyone's watching and you're in the chat, you're welcome to shoot any. You're welcome to do a Q&A at this point if you want to. But I was going to say that, like, as you know, our main drummer is William Dorsey.
Yep, from Body Count.
Yeah, and he's in Body Count. So and Ice-T is very busy now. So and also when he's not doing the Body Count thing, he's also the I think he's a drum tech for the Offspring as well, like on off season for Body Count and stuff.
Dang.
So if he becomes unavailable, then Craig will just take over like usual. And we'll likely my friends Eric and Scott Barajas, who I grew up with, both great musicians. Eric will probably end up taking up the third guitar role, and then Scott will end up taking the bass player role. If we've been talking, Mr. Boobman Double D asks a question: carpet or hardwood floors? No, it doesn't depend. I fucking detest and abhor carpet.
My house,
I hate it.
Tile over here, so it's
carpet is disgusting. I like the look, of like a proper high quality fucking like a Berber tight. I like the look, but no, over time that's just a cesspool of shite. Hardwood floors forever. Hardwood floors forever.
Yep. Munch carpets and get a hardwood. Right?
What the fuck did you just say? Say that again.
Munch carpet and get a hardwood.
Munch carpets and get hardwood. Jatan Dasgupta asks, you've done some great music videos and video projects too in your career. What are some of the things you love about mixing music and visuals and storytelling? Wow. A poignant question from another old friend. Jatan is a very close friend of mine. He's a brother to me. And he is a great content creator himself. He's produced a lot of really cool stuff. And he's an awesome videographer. Anyway, so he asks, there's people chatting with me separately asking me if this is still going. I'm letting them know it is. Yeah, so, okay, what are some of the things you love about mixing music and visuals and story? I mean, I think the answer to that is obvious. I mean, you can watch a great scene from the Titanic or Friday the 13th or whatever, and the music can make or break it. I mean, the scene in silence will just be too real, and it'll be unsettling, But like, no, I think what are the things I love about it? It's how you experience life, right? I mean, it's a culmination of, it's all multimedia, right? So it's like, I think it's a force multiplier. I think the visuals have the ability to sell the musical aspect of it, and it'll force multiply what that means and vice versa, right? I think some great music, great fucking director, man. Chris Cunningham, did the Apex. What the fuck are the thing of that fucking dude? What's the name of that like electronic DJ musician beat maker?
There's like Skrillex. There's Sasha.
No, man, it's like anyway. Chris Cunningham. Fuck this. I have the internet in front of me. Chris Cunningham is an awesome director. Do you remember? Do you remember when he did "All Is Full of Love"? Sareth, did you ever seeing the "All Is Full of Love" video for Bjork?
I have not seen that video. I feel bad now.
Oh my god! Oh, Aphex Twin. So Aphex Twin. Remember "Come to Daddy"? Remember that shit? So anyway, Aphex Twin. He did an amazing video for that. And he did "All Is Full of Love," which is one of the most gorgeous fucking videos I've ever seen in my life. Chris Cunningham is a great example where, like, it's just if you didn't think the music could get any better, like that visual would do it. And also, it goes both ways. Like, if the music couldn't feel sensually any better, the visual helps. The rest of what he asked was storytelling. I mean, of course, that's part of it. Nicholas Haas loves carpet. Or he has carpet and tile. Don't know what his preference is. Mr. Boofman is asking Tifa or Yennefer. Oh, that is an awesome question. So Tifa from Final Fantasy VII or Yennefer, the crazy sorceress, extremely hot bitch from The Witcher. So, Mr. Boobman, Double D, I present this question to that, which is which Yennefer? And I'm not the biggest fan of the Yennefer in the Netflix series. She's a little too soft for me. I like the one from the video game. So Yennefer from the Witcher video game, no question, over Tifa. Tifa is boring. She is a bartender. She is a brawler, and she's hot because she's an anime character that's fleshed out with a big rack, and that doesn't mean a lot to me. And, okay. Is it okay that I'm reading these off, Sareth?
Yeah, go for it, dude.
Okay.
You got all the time in the world.
Jatan Dasgupta, come to daddy. Yeah, Aphex Twin, thank you. Ronald Gardner, you are an inspiration, Dean. Thanks, man. That's nice of you to say. Your portfolio is amazing. Thanks for that. That's really kind. How old is too old to get into the industry? Type this answer back to me as I answer yours. What industry? So are we talking about being strictly an audio guy, an audio engineer, an editor? Because, if we just talked about audio alone, we could be talking something that we didn't expect to cover, like post-production people in film. You can be any age and do that. If you're very useful as an editor, doing, Pro Tools, Avid, things like that, you can make a great living if you're an asset. Like if you're quick with like a 0% chance of error, you can be 70 years old. They wouldn't fucking care. If you're talking about the music side of the industry as an audio guy, let's just say audio alone. And please, by all means, type more details about your question as I keep going. Oh, there he goes. Music industry audio engineer. Wow. How old is too old to get into it? Well, I would say you're never too old to get into it because, there's something about that, right? Like with age, of course, because you see, like our most, like my last mentor, he's now left us. Brian Karlstrom was the last mentor I ever worked alongside. First, I worked for him, and then I worked with him. You guys don't know the name, but he is responsible for Allison Chain's Dirt. Excellent. White Zombie, Anthrax, fucking Billy Idol. I could keep going on this. And, he, at his death, I believe was in his mid 50s, but he, at 45, he was, still, well, in demand. But of course, my point being is at that age, he's come through a lot. So if you enter, let's just say in your mid 40s, obviously it might be a little odd to have someone who's in their 40s being a coffee boy, but it's not unheard of. I came up a little bit more traditionally. You know, I came up working in studios as a runner, as like a second engineer or assistant. You know, everything up to there. You know, and kind of like the apprenticeship way, like you would in like in a wood shop or something. You know, it's a little different these days. That doesn't happen as often. You know, but I don't think it's too old. I would say, I mean, I'm answering off the cuff here, Ronald. But I would say too old is when you go in and either one of these two things is happening. Either your sound and tendencies towards sound are dated, and or you aren't able to see the innovation beyond what's happening already ahead of you. So you could be 20 years old and have that problem, you know? But then again, if you're 20 years old and you have that problem, you can, as we talked about earlier, Sareth, you could be pigeonholed and just doing fucking indie rock, which sounds the same no matter what. But, you know, I think as long as you're innovating, no one fucking gives a shit. And if you're fun to be around and you're inspiring to be around, I think be 80 years old and be the funny grandpa that makes me rock harder, dude. Fucking do that. I mean, I'm not being facetious. You know, I think it's a thing. Mr. Boobman loves Alice in Chains. Who doesn't? You know?
What's your favorite memory of Alice in Chains? And I'll share mine. Dean.
My favorite memory. Well, so I mean, I never got to work with him, obviously, but my favorite memory of Alice in Chains. I don't have a direct one. I mean, you know, my favorite memory would be, I remember discovering Man in the Box, obviously. You know, God, what was that? 89? I was 8 years old, you know, and that was cool. But when Dirt came out, like in like 92, I guess it was 92 or 91. I just remember my brother and I, like my brother and I were going to a parochial school, and he K through 12 school, and he's 7 years older than me. And he would take me and just jam like fucking, you know, Jane's Addiction and Stone Temple Pilots and Pearl Jam in the car. And every time he'd throw on Alice in Chains, dude, it's like the thickest guitar tones in the world. It's like the sound of rock redefined, you know, and that's probably one of my best memories. A cool thing for me was working with Brian Karlstrom. You know, he had all the amps and guitars that were used in that album. So whenever we would take breaks, I would just patch it all up and just play through Dirt and go, oh my God, it sounds just like it. You know, that was really fun for me. What about you?
I have three that stick out. Like my first experience with them was with MTV Unplugged. And I remember Nutshell being the opening song and giving goosebumps. And hearing Sledge Factory and have Lane mess up. And
wait, hold on. I have to ask. Oh shit! I forget this is wired.
Man.
Sareth.
Yep.
You got to tell me. I don't know if the gate on my mic will stop this, but was this the first tune? I forget, from Unplugged.
That's the one.
Yes.
And everyone was walking out, and the crowd is
what
cheering.
The fuck's the name of that tune again?
Nutshell.
What's it called?
Nutshell.
Yep. In these pretty lies. Do. Sorry, yeah.
So
I love the I love the Unplugged too. I have the record. Like I listen to it a lot.
And when Lane messed up and everyone had to start over again, that was awesome. Like, and that taught me, like, you know,
oh yeah,
so many times, but as long as you just get up and keep on going, everything's gonna be fine. And then like my second experience with them was at Club Nokia when it was around, and I had to cover that show for like Music Cares. And
Music Cares. Yeah.
And on that bill was Billy Idol.
Hey Dylan. Sorry.
And Hart, and it goes back to your Billy Idol thing with your producer, and Hart was on the bill, and Steve-O was there, and Moby was the house DJ, and Allison Chains.
Holy, that sounds fucking great.
It was legendary, dude.
Those were the times, man. Those were the times.
And they performed an all acoustic set, and it was just nuts. And like some of the guys noticed me with my Wu-Tang pants and beanie, and like gave me fist bumps from the red carpet. It was so awesome.
You mentioned Hart. I want to say something about that, but Ronald Gardner just posted something. I think he's in response to my response. I'm not that old, but I'm in school for it at 38. but been in the music industry 20 plus years. Not as huge or notable as you, dude. I'm not huge or notable. I'm a very useful person that everyone knows they can use. Thank you for that, for calling me that, though. I feel like a superhero because of you tonight. But yeah, I'm not that old, but in school for 38. I don't see anything wrong with that, dude. I mean, like I said, like go innovate and go fucking show, go show some of these artists that might be losing steam, that are still writing great songs, that they're still like beyond relevant. Like go get me. You're about the same age as me, dude. Like go with those people, make some, independents, locals, whatever, and make some fucking records that, harken back to the best of their time, but like, point the fucking trajectory towards something modern there. Go find some younger artists that'll look up to you because your age. You're young enough to still be the fucking cool older brother in the studio. Like go get the younger artists in there and inspire them, dude. Like everything you've done the last 20 years. I still do that, because I get a lot of young artists still. So, I mean, it's important to, because the cool thing about being a musician, dude, is you don't really grow up. Right, Sareth? I mean, you're not that you're a musician or anything, but like, I mean, you're an entertainer. We understand that. There's that element of you as the enchanted child never has to grow up. That's important. So I say, grab the younger people, grab the younger kids, and show them the old ways, and let them teach you some of the stuff that innovates for them, and then take that to the guys that are still relevant in their late 30s that can still put out a platinum album. And we have Boo Man says Lollapalooza when Chili Peppers, Pearl Jam, and James were in it. Fuck yes. When Lollapalooza was a tour, that was awesome. Early 90s was awesome, is still awesome. Wild-Eyed Wonder, holy fucking shit, you guys. This woman, this is Wild-Eyed Wonder in the chat, is a woman called Dee, and Dee Bradbury, and she lives in Ipswich, Australia. Wow. And this is an artist. I'm actually really honored that she's here. Thank you, Dee, for coming. Thank you, Wild-Eyed Wonder, for coming.
Welcome.
Thanks, Doreth. I discovered her because of some weird like algorithm on YouTube. Like YouTube said, I think you'd like this, and I hit play, and I saw this chick with like the coolest hair. She knows I'm all about her hair. Like I'm jealous of her hair. And like, I was like, this is the coolest hair in the world. And like, she has this song, Tall Trees, I think it's called. Please correct me if I'm wrong, Dee. And it was one of the most uplifting, like it was one of the most refreshing, but like rich, like productions and songs I've ever heard. She just did a fucking sick fucking live show. It'd be last night for me yesterday. Dee, I can't believe the fidelity of your show with the loopers and the backing tracks. That was so well done. Ron Gardner comes back. Never grow up. Absolutely. You can't. I mean, you can't force yourself. You're never going to grow up. Ron John approved. Thank you. Hey, you're welcome, dude. If you have any more questions about this stuff, please, by all means. I mean, he and I are connected on a Discord server, so we can always geek out about the audio stuff too.
Absolutely. And I agree with you. You never grow up, and you're never too young. Like when I was an intern at 27, only because I slacked in college, and I'm glad that Clive took a chance on me out in Hollywood, and I didn't end up being a stand-up comic until I was 30, and then all this crazy stuff started happening, and I'm like, right. Man, the festival appearances, my own festival, and just it's nuts, and performing in front of sold-out shows and in front of 4 people at a dive bar. It's been quite an adventure.
I have to ask you while everyone's here. I've unfortunately not made it to any of your shows. You've been traveling a lot and all that. What is like the focus of your subject matter when you do the stand up?
Oh, a lot of sex jokes. Like my my misadventures in the dirty land.
Love it.
Yeah,
Love it.
I get really dirty and graphic, and like with bodily fluids and everything. And
he said bodily fluids.
Because I don't
just said it like that. Bodily fluids.
I don't use any curse words in my set, but I just get really down and dirty.
Hold on. So you go that far with no curse words?
Yeah, I could do a half hour without any curse words.
Give us sorry to call you out. What's an example of a joke where you like go really full on, like no curse words, bodily fluids?
With bodily fluids. I have an album out called Sex Jokes and Rock and Roll, and this is on there, and I make up sex positions, and it's called The Winter Storm, and it's where you bust a nut in their butts and you make them fart it back at you. So, hey, you asked for it, Dean.
Holy shit!
It gets worse, but I don't.
I need to go to one of your shows. I'm gonna skip. You know, if I go to one of your shows, I'm gonna skip laughter and go directly to vomit. I'm just gonna lose it. You know what I mean?
Oh man, nothing like making people moan and groan in their seats and they can't go anywhere. It's like
of course,
watching a horror movie, and it's so good.
Of course, Boob Man would be into this. Yes, Boob Man. Type in Wild Eyed Wonder. Follow her on YouTube. Good stuff in there. Yeah, definitely. If anyone else has any more Q&A, let Sareth know. Let us know.
Yeah, and absolutely, I'll subscribe to all your channels, and thank you guys so much for interacting with us and all that good stuff. And Ronald said that he was laughing his A off, and it was epic. But yeah, you'll just getting down and dirty, you know.
I think we'd be remiss if we didn't cover one more thing, Krista.
Yeah, indeed. Gosh,
you know what I mean?
Amazing.
So you were asking about we would cover a little bit of Dead End Amelia, my band, and you are also very close to Krista too. We don't see each other every day, the three of us, but we love you, dude. And there she is.
Hey,
there she is. Speak of the devil.
Finally,
he shall appear. Nick Sounds. Krista is here. Thank you. My eyeliner's on point. Thank you so much. I just bought it because when you know what's going on in my life, I couldn't go to my house to get it. But I just bought it and I did it really fast. Really fast. Thank you, Chris. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna do something for her. I'm gonna do something for her because she's gonna love this. Krista loves it when I do the lip tint, right? Yeah, this is for Chris. This is for Nick Sounds. Because she says, I look like my mother when I do this. Which is true. Do I have to make kissy sounds? I'm doing this for Krista.
Thanks to Julie Newmar for everything, by the way.
To whom?
Julie Newmar. Tu Wong Fu.
Yeah.
I love that movie. It's good stuff. John Leguizamo is the one that inspired me to do stand-up, by the way. Oh, do that arm thing for Chris, by the way.
Oh, Krista. Sareth earlier on in the interview had mentioned what? She's gonna love that. No, I mean, I don't even know she was here for the rest of this interview. But I was gonna say that you brought up a lot of the artists I'm working with and all that. And one of the big ones for you and me, Sareth, is of course meeting through my band, like you coming to the shows and doing all that. Krista is a big part of that, obviously. My singer, Nick Sounds, in the chat now. And yeah, man, I mean, I ended up producing, I was supposed to produce a sort of a pop rock EP for 2008 or so. And it turned into us making this band. And now she is Nick's. Sareth, have you heard Nick's? Have you heard her solo stuff?
Yeah, I listened to some of that stuff.
Really, really fucking cool.
Indeed.
Really fucking cool.
I mean, I remember back in the day, you guys covered Deftones. And,
we did do a Deftones change in the House of Flies cover. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Indeed. And my all-time favorite, I put it on my one of my YouTube playlists for my road trips, is Satellite. That's like my favorite.
Dude, thank you. Yeah. Thanks for listening still. Okay, Krista, he still listens to our band. She's Nick's now, and she's I work with her on Nick's, but that's purely her project. It's more of the electronic sort of R&B, sort of darker R&B thing. The last Nick's EP we did recently, let's put it this way, it's pretty obvious that we both love Janet a lot. Janet Jackson, and but she's back in a rock place, so that's where the DEA comes in. Sorry, I had to mention her before you signed us off, so I had to make sure that she got a mention in there.
Awesome. It's Miss Jackson if you're nasty.
Yeah.
And that's what I am, and that's what we are. We're nasty.
Dude, Krista, I love you too, Chris. I don't know if that was from me or Sareth, but I know he does too. Yep. Krista, I'm hoping you weren't around for his what was it called? The winter what joke? The winter
storm. That's for your dog too, by the way, Dean.
Krista, I hope you didn't hear the winter storm joke. Oh, Ronald remembers. Of course he does. You dirty fuck. You're a dirty man. You're a dirty man. If Ronald Gardner was a whiskey and the whiskey got it'd be tasting notes. Ronald Gardner, 12 years old. Dirty man. On the nose. Lewd. Disgusting. No, that's your tasting notes. That's your tasting notes. This is Sareth's tasting notes. On the palate, Sareth Nay.
Indeed.
Unexpectedly disgusting. No curse words. Yeah. No curse words. Anyway.
And the tagline on my album is a coming of age comedy record. And so.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, I know. It's dirty. But,
oh, man.
Yeah, Krista's the best. And, man, I just miss you guys and seeing you guys perform. And
we miss you, too. Krista, he's going to be doing his festival thing again. I told him that DEA might see a resurgence. So, oh, you were here? I'm so sorry for that. Man, your girlfriend would have laughed more at it. Stephanie would have laughed more at that joke. You would have been disgusted by it. I know she would have been disgusted by it. Sorry you were here for that, sis. Sorry about that.
Yeah, we're celebrating 7 years. Can you believe it? Holy crap, dude. Of Sreth Fest.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Man. Thanks, dude. Like
holy shit.
I finally added a house DJ to it yesterday. But yeah, it's like 21 musical artists, all local. And 18 comedians and 5 days, and it's all free. So if you guys are in Pueblo, Colorado, and you want to see like Pueblo's metalcore scene and death metal scene,
can we plug that? What is Sareth Fest?
Oh, it's my accidental music and comedy festival in Colorado, and it started off at Clive's place as a film festival. To be honest with you guys, because we'll have a film festival with all your short films. And we'll call it Sreth Fest. I'm like, cool, dude. And then I moved back to Colorado, and I said I was about to move to Florida. And I said, I just need 3 bands and 3 comics to send me on my way. And I tagged one member of each band and musical artist, no matter if they were, hip hop, ska, metal, whatever. And they said, yeah, we all went in on this. So I'm like, all right, I'll book everybody. So it turned into a 3-day festival in the beginning. And it was like a week-long one time, and we just take over a bunch of venues, make it free for everyone to go, and we just party for 5 days with comedians and musicians. It's pretty awesome.
Krista, we have to go see. We owe this to him. I don't know if Krista was around. If you remember, Sareth did roadie for us. He did merch guy. He was merch girl one time. We owe it to him, if not to play, at least to go experience. I want to go see more of these dirty non-curse words jokes. I want to see more of that. I want to hang out with Sareth and give him a hug until he suffocates and dies.
Oh man, Mr. Bootman complimented me on the great interview, and I'm always trying to get better. And I thank you so much for complimenting me. That's pretty awesome.
It's nice of you, Bootman.
And Mr. Bootman, in Florida, I live between Jacksonville and Daytona Beach, and so I get to bounce between those 3 scenes and do comedy.
Oh yeah, Bootman's in Florida, man.
Yeah, what part, Mr. Bootman?
I forget where he is. And where are you getting Sareth in Florida? Sorry.
Northeast, so it's like Jacksonville, Daytona, St. Augustine area. So,
right. Okay.
Yeah, it's but I perform mostly in Daytona Beach though, because that's like they're more accepting.
Let's do it, Chris.
My weirdness, they love it there, so it's like I love it, and there's awesome fans there.
Todd wants to peace out. It's another conversation, but I think he wants to peace out from where he's at. He says he's in Melbourne. Is there a Melbourne there?
Yeah, I performed at Open Mike's Coffee Lounge there. Mike, the owner, is pretty awesome. So
do you know that place, Todd?
Them. Yeah, the comedy scene is pretty cool there too. So definitely go to Open Mike's and Old School Pizza. They have comedy there at those places. So definitely check those places out.
Cool.
Yeah, dude. Man, it's been like an hour and 24 minutes. And,
yeah, sorry. I'm having fun with the chat room,
We are. It's like my longest interview yet. So,
but I hope we didn't overdo it.
Oh, we didn't. Like, I'll give you all the time in the world, Dean.
You too.
But as a friendly reminder, Dean's PayPal and Venmo are scrolling on the bottom. And what I'm doing is I'm raising funds for musicians during these times, as well as my favorite venues and small businesses on the Sunset Strip and the Cordone Cinnamon Cafe, where I have my storyteller's room every last Thursday of each month in St. Augustine. So definitely check out the description in the below the video on YouTube and donate to their GoFundMe's and go to their websites and find out how to donate to those awesome venues for giving me a safe haven during my times in Los Angeles. And this is for the musicians too, because without them, the world would suck without music.
Agreed. And Sareth is going to be moving around the country quite a bit, and follow his channel. I know we're on your channel now, right? Yep. Okay, so, but it is youtube.com/Sareth_Ney, Ney, right?
Yep.
So follow him. If you know, I guarantee you guys will be really entertained by this fucking guy, for sure.
There's like hundreds of interviews with musicians and comedians, and you'll see my stand-up videos. Definitely watch my roast. It's an hour long, so people are mean to me for like an hour. So, it was my first comedy show ever, so check that out. It's great stuff.
I'd love to see you involved in a roast with no cuss words.
Well, I actually did curse because it was my first show and I didn't know any better. So, but I actually made a parody song of Puddle of Mud's "She Hates Me," and it goes back to your Nirvana thing. And it's called "I Masturbate Me," and it's
of course it is, dude.
The longer it goes, the dirtier it gets. So definitely wait till the end of the roast and check out that song, and or just fast forward it. But definitely listen for the jokes because that hour goes by fast with all the laughter. So hopefully it makes you guys laugh at home and cheers you guys up during these crazy times.
Awesome.
So I'll definitely hit up Mr. Boobman, and then the next time I'm in Melbourne, I'm not sure when I'll go back, but hopefully in due time. Yep, and open mics is on Babcock Street. Support those guys. They have awesome food and coffee, and really cool venue to play music too. So yeah, go support those guys. Awesome, Dean. Thanks for having me, and support all the venues, all the local musicians.
Thanks for having me. You had me. Thanks for having me.
Indeed. And it was so great to meet all you guys in the chat rooms and making this interaction fun. And you guys are the best. And yeah,
thank you guys for coming
down the road. And hopefully you guys tune in next week. I'll be sharing the story of how I met Mark McGrath at the House of Blues during the Doors show, and without Jim Morrison, of course. But that's gonna be next week for Stories on Sunset, and that's a pretty crazy story. It's probably shorter than this, I guarantee it. So, yeah, thanks so much, Dean, and thanks for everyone that tuned in. And man, that was a fun hour and 27 minutes. You guys rock.
Thanks for being here, guys.
Thank you for being here. Later, and hopefully you guys do the winter storm at home.
God. Fuck. Do I peace out of this thing?